game it's very hard to prove something with white, so I knew that, but I thought like, okay, maybe I can slowly build up something in the center, but yeah, I guess logically, this bishop f4 idea is logical, just to trade away a pair of bishops, but it doesn't work due to some also as well positional and tactical reasons. So basically, after I let these exchanges happen, it was never something I could really hope for. Yeah, more than a draw, and then after basically after b4, well, probably I have to bring my king to c2 and accept, sacrifice the pawn back and okay, just accept the draw.
Magnus, the same question for you. When were you the most optimistic during this game?
I wouldn't say I was ever particularly optimistic in sense, in the sense of winning the game. I was a little bit worried, kind of echoing Jan's sentiment of being a little bit optimistic. But yeah, was happy to find this idea with b4. But I knew that if he remained prudent there and just brought his king over, I thought chances of winning the game were not realistic.
Jan, it's your first game in a World Championship match. You're feeling now that it's over?
Well, I can't say much. So I was white, and normally we white you want to try to win, but yeah, draw is also somewhat a result. But yeah, just was I guess a fine game from Magnus. So I don't feel something specific.
Magnus, you had the black pieces in this game. Solid result after the first game.
Yeah, the result was solid. I do feel that I was a little bit shaky at times. There's certainly things that I could have done better, but overall, I think the result was fair enough.
We open the floor to the media, the press. You may go to the microphones on the side and begin your questions. Yes.
Mike Klein with chess.com. My question's for Magnus Carlsen. Most of your games played against Jan in the past have been in opens or at least in invitationals. This is your first time, of course, playing him in a match. Do you expect that his style will change, given that this is a match format?
Yeah, I think Jan was already quite a lot more solid in the candidates, and this, I guess, was a continuation of that. But yeah, overall, he's just a very good player.
This is going to be a short press conference if you guys don't have any questions, so please.
You said before the press conference before the first game that you thought you were going to be fired up, Magnus, when you were sitting at the table for the first game. Did that happen today?
If I wouldn't say necessarily fired up, but very concentrated and eager to go for sure.
This side.
Saravanan
Please keep
from
your mask on.
Sorry, Saravanan from ChessBase. Magnus, question to Magnus. Today it looked as if you got your kind of a position, a favorite kind of position for you, an endgame and a maneuvering, and before that a pawn sacrifice. So, would you consider this as a good start for you?
I think the answer is always nuanced. So, I mean, I didn't particularly mind the position that I got. I mean, the opening that I played is not one you can afford to play if you're not fine being down a pawn with the bishop pair. But after that, it does in general feel like white has a little bit more potential to maneuver, and black usually has to react a bit more. But I was pretty happy with the plan that I found eventually. Giving up the bishop pair to some extent looks very counterintuitive, but I thought that I would still have reasonable compensation with with his weakened pawn structure and relatively passive pieces, and at least in the game I was at least half vindicated.
Anders Borg Hansen from Danish Chess Magazine. I have a question for both players. Can you reveal a little bit about who are your trainers or seconds?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was asked the same at a starting press conference, so I can repeat that. Okay, the part of the team remains the same from the candidates, and the part of the team has changed.
Magnus?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that you're from the Danish chess magazine, because I can reveal a big secret that my chief trainer is actually Danish.
May I have a supplementary question?
Yeah.
The opening choice suggests that perhaps also a German is involved on the team.
You may speculate as much as you want. I think that's half the fun of being a journalist at a World Championship match.
Yes, thank you.
Ole Kristian, newspaper VG Norway. Question for Jan. How does it now? Your first game in World Championship is over. How do you feel? Do you feel relieved? How was it?
Well, I feel like you feel after a draw with white pieces. So, I mean, that's a quite usual result nowadays, but still, obviously, you want more.
Alexander Yevstugnev, TV channel Russia 1, and I'll speak Russian for Russian audience. My question is for Ян. Если можно, Ян, ответьте, пожалуйста, на русском языке. Как оцениваете сегодняшний старт, насколько он был результативен вот, с точки зрения той стратегии, которая у вас проработана на весь матч? И, в общем-то, бережете ли силы или нет, или в полный рост?
Ну, беречь сил, наверное, уже будет лучше после матча, да, то есть сейчас-то какой смысл силы беречь? Ну, нормальная партия, соперник довольно хорошо играл, применил довольно интересную идею, я был с ней знаком, но, в общем, мало быть знакомым, надо еще потом пытаться ставить проблемы. Ну, нормальная рабочая партия, ну, в принципе, когда играешь белым цветом, хочется большего.
Еще уточню, насколько, скажем так, оба спортсмены были сегодня активны, на ваш взгляд, вы и ваш соперник?
Ну, всегда вот можно настолько играть активно, насколько соперник позволяет, да, то есть, в принципе, Магнус выбрал дебют очень надежный, да, то есть сразу же там, после там, за 10 ходов получился эндшпиль у меня с лишней пешкой, но очень сложно на самом деле что-то из этой лишней пешки извлечь, да, то есть там есть некая компенсация, и позиция, что называется, ну, динамического равновесия, плюс-минус, да, так что, ну, я думаю, что активность какую-то особо никто не проявлял.
Thank you.
Mike Klein, chess.com again. This question's for Grandmaster Jan Nepomniachtchi. We didn't get to ask this at the opening press conference, but you're looking a lot more fit. I'm curious what you did physically training for this match, and was there a target weight you were trying to get down to, or anything like that?
Well, as you correctly mentioned, I was trying to be more fit. Well, and I mean, some may think that I was successful at least at this part. So, but I mean, in general, it's quite an obvious part of preparation for some major event. Yeah, you gotta be, you gotta feel well during the whole thing. Yeah, and not to let some up and downs happen. And I guess that's the point. But it's only game one. So, hopefully, everything goes okay.
Ulrich Stock from German newspaper Die Zeit. A question for Jan. Were you surprised to see the knight move to 5 in the opening by Magnus?
Yeah, this by all means not the main move in the position. Yes, so normally black chooses other moves, but this move was one among I have studied before the match, and this was not a big surprise, I would say.
And the move rook from f to b8 was also inspiration?
Somehow, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, from VG Norway again. Question for Jan. How does it feel not to play for the Russian flag? Is it that? Do you feel that that's a problem?
Well, I mean, obviously that's not a good thing to play without your, usual flag and your usual anthem. But during a chess game, you think about moves.
Anders again. How long time did you spend for the preparation for the match itself?
This is directed to who?
Both players.
Magnus?
Yeah, it's obviously hard to measure, but because there's the time that I spent and also the time that was spent by the team. So yeah, I don't particularly know, but I would say it's very similar amount to what's been done for previous matches.
Yeah.
Well, since I didn't prepare for previous matches, yeah, I can only say that it was a lot.
Question for Jan. Today's game, you started playing the match, the first move. This was probably a moment you waited since childhood. You imagined, you aspired. How did it feel when you actually sat down to play the first move? Could you keep your emotions and the nerves under check? How was it?
Well, I think the statement that, okay, I was waiting for this since childhood is, sort of exaggeration, because I think I waited for this until the candidates were. Yep, so I always prefer to do it like step by step. But indeed, you are normally very nervous until the thing starts. And yep, I mean, once I think the first move has been played, there is more space, no more place and not a good moment to be nervous. You got to start playing. And well, that's particularly what I from childhood, yeah, playing chess.
Any more questions?
I've got a question here from the FIDE's Twitter followers, sent in by Matt Beef, and it's for both players. How much do you dread post-game conferences? Do you just want it to be over, or do you use it as a time of rest?
I think it very much depends on the situation. I mean, at the moment with only the first game played and not much has happened, it's okay, and I guess a way to relieve the stress a bit after this game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a part of the job of the professional sportsman, so I think I come here and I try to speak.
If there are no more questions, that concludes our press conference for today. Game 2 will be tomorrow at 16:30 at the Dubai Exhibition Center. Thank you very much. Have a great night.